All right. Welcome back, everybody, to another basketball podcast. Normally Michael Epps is our guy that claps at the intro. We need to make a clip of that. He does it every time. I like it. It gets you amped up. Well, Michael's not here just yet. There you go, Tim. Shout out to Michael. Michael is just going to join in just a few minutes. I mean, as we know, he's the big boy. He does professional TV with Fox 56. So he'll hop off his show and jump right on the podcast. So if y'all see Michael jump up any second, that will be him, our other co-host that y'all are used to seeing. But let's get right to it. We have a very, very, very special guest, Kentucky basketball commit, Malachi Moreno. Malachi, the floor is yours. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Good.
Of course. Appreciate you coming on here for sure.
Of course.
Yeah, very grateful. We're excited, going into the Mark Pope era, there's a lot of unknown. It's new, and we want to get to know the players, and you're the first commitment of, outside of the portal, but the first recruiting class commitment. So we really want to get to know you. You're right over in Georgetown at Great Crossing High School, going into your senior year. Big expectations as you round out your high school career. But before we get to the basketball talk, Malachi, I want to know, what does Malachi do for fun off the court? We have a lot of golfers on the current basketball team. What do you do for fun?
I mean, I sort of just like to hang out with my buddies. Like, there's not much to do in Georgetown. We're kind of a small town, but I mean, I'm really tight with all my friends, growing up with each other. One of the reasons I stayed at Great Crossing, just because, we've been with each other since we were kindergartners. I wanted to live that out. And, I fish, I golf, just hang out with my friends. That's probably the main thing I do outside of basketball.
Yeah, Tim, he'll fit right in with the team next year golfing. They have some big golfers on this team.
Okay, I will say I'm not good, but I just picked it up. So I'm going to get better.
Tim, you can jump right in whenever, Tim, if you got some questions lined up.
Yeah, well, first of all, it looks like there was a recent change on Twitter that doesn't allow you to go live on Twitter anymore. So I apologize to the people that were hoping to see this on Twitter, but apparently you need a premium account now.
Yeah, but go live on Twitter. That's cool.
Yeah. Apparently you need a premium account now, which I didn't know until just now. But we're still live on Facebook and YouTube, so we're still rolling here. But you talk about how big of a friend, or with your buddies and everything, but you seem kind of like a big family guy as well with you, with your brother and your parents, and I was doing some research and came across an article that was posted a few years ago. I think it was the News Graphic in Georgetown, and they were talking about your dad's journey and actually how he came from Columbia and everything, and how that was kind of a hard fought battle for him. It was his dream to get here and play basketball. How do you think kind of his experiences have influenced or kind of impact you, just as not really a basketball player, but also as a person?
I mean, he's just, as I was growing up, he was just telling me, if you want it, you work for it, and there's no going away from it. Once you have a plan, you stick to it. And I mean, I had my brother, he was athlete, Scott County. He did the same thing. He stuck with it. And then, my mom, she's just my support. She's always there. And, she said the same thing. Once you stick to it, you got to stick with it. So, and not to give up.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I've noticed that your mom, I saw a picture of you when you went to Indiana for a visit, that she was right there with you. She took a picture with you. Kind of how much
she went on all my visits with me.
Nobody else. That's awesome.
Just me and my mom.
That's awesome. Did she make much of an impact in where you decided to go as far as college?
Yes and no. I mean, it's my mom. It's one of my best friends. I can talk to her about anything. And, choosing Kentucky, I was able to stay close to her and my brother and my dad. So that was a good thing about it. But at the same time, ultimately, it was where I felt comfortable at, and it just felt right.
Yeah, Malachi, staying home, as what Kentucky basketball entails. You've done visits. I think you said you're coming to Big Blue Madness. Was that the main reason, just to stay home, or did Mark Pope make a good pitch to you of this is how we plan to use you one day, or how I know that was different from switching coach to coach, but did he have a special pitch for you that you're allowed to share with us?
He just kept it real honest with me. And I mean, the coaching staff, every time I'm on campus, I always talk to each and every one of them, and they take time out of their day to talk to me. I talk to Coach Feger all the time, every day. Coach Fox will text me as well. And anytime I'm on campus, I'll just go in their office, sit, talk, chat. It's sometimes not even about basketball. Sometimes we'll just chat about life. And that's what really it really stuck with me. Just like Coach Pope wants to help me become a better player on the court, but also become a better person off the court.
Yeah. Well, one point that we were talking about before we started recording is I really want to get into this. We were all three at that football game the other night with the delays, and we saw some video come out. Mark Pope, I guess he spotted you up in the bleachers and said, "Come on down."
Yeah, he actually he called my brother because for some reason at Kroger Field you don't get service, so I didn't get his call, but he called my brother and asked him where you were sitting, and then I was just looking around, and I turned to my left. Coach Pope was walking through the stands, and I'm like, "What?" And then he just came up to me. We talked for a couple of minutes, and then he went back to his box, I think. And then I was just really cool. It was crazy how much a hat can do for somebody. Like nobody recognized him until he took his hat off, and I was like, "You sure you didn't see him 6'10"?"
Yeah, exactly. Fans really, really liked seeing that. That was special. It shows, that coach cares. He's really excited. Let me go. He knows he's going to get swarmed with pictures and sign this, but he was going to not fight, but go through everybody just to get to you. That shows a lot of effort. Tim, what were you going to say, Dave?
Yeah, well, we're talking about kind of how much, but you spoke with Mark Pope about life and just whatever it is. I can't remember who said it, but they were saying that he's a big FaceTime guy. He loves to just randomly FaceTime everybody.
Oh my goodness. I was in Rock Hill. I was at my, we had 3 teams in Rock Hill. We had a 15U, 16U, and 17U Indiana Elite team. And I was at the 16U game just watching, support my buddies because some of them are from Kentucky. Out of nowhere, my phone starts to ring. And it's Mark Pope. And he is in, Indiana. I had just seen him that morning, and then he flew to Indiana to go to another circuit. And he was like, "What's up, man?" Just talking to me. And I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah. Is it any time of the day, or does he have any how would you describe a FaceTime for him? Is he real goofy? What's it like?
Any time of the day, he's real goofy. And it's just like a fun personality to be around.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely seems like it. He killed it in his press conference. I did want to ask you while we're talking about that. Are you close with any of the players on this team's roster? Have you gotten to talk to any of them a whole lot?
I'm good friends with Travis and Trent. I mean, we've played against each other for a long time. I actually went with Travis to Adidas Euro Camp 2 years ago now, and we were roommates. So that was pretty cool. And just we've always kept tight. Us Kentucky dudes, we like to keep it tight. So
yeah, I think we're about to have Michael join in just a second.
He's just here, so I'm going to pop him in.
Awesome.
What up,
Michael?
We're live.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Appreciate it. Sorry for coming in late. Just got done anchoring. What were we talking about? UK football, EKU football, Bengals football. But it's time to talk some hoop, man. Thanks for coming on the pod.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Are we still in how are you feeling mode? Or are we talking ball? Where are you guys
just hitting it at the very beginning? Anything works, Michael.
Man, Malachi, I know I'm excited to see you play this year. Obviously, you're excited. I know you just mentioned, I was kind of waiting. You mentioned Travis. I know that semifinal game, man, I was feeling for you. So I know that you're gonna want your revenge. But
that one stung a little bit. But I mean, he was Mr. Basketball. He deserved to win it. He has probably the greatest career in Kentucky high school basketball. So, I mean, I was nothing but happy for him.
Yeah, I know you mentioned you're close. What did you guys talk about after that game? I know you were obviously sad, but thinking that he might have been your future teammate at that time, and now he is. What is that like?
I mean, after that game, I was just telling him, I was like, "Hey, man, go win it all. This is what we dreamed about since we were kids." And after he got on campus, he would always text me, and he'd just be like, "Yo, are you my future teammate or what?" And he would just send me those little texts every now and then. And it was really fun.
That's cool, man. I know he's happy for you, that you made this decision. Obviously, could have another future teammate maybe in Jasper tomorrow. We'll see. But how are you? How excited are you to just have this senior year first of all, and go out there, ball out, try to improve your game, and try to go win state?
I'm very excited. I mean, it's one of those last chances to play with my best friends. We came up short last year, but we had a really, really, really good year last year for being a fifth-year school. I think we went 36-2, finished top 10 in the country. We did really well for ourselves last year and really put ourselves out there. So I think one of the main reasons I chose to come back was just to repeat that same year, but this year come home with a state championship.
Yeah, Malachi. So I got to talk to your head coach a couple weeks ago. He, of course, had a lot of great things to say about you. He said a lot during your commitment about how he just had a blast with you. Can you just talk about your relationship with him, how he supported you on and off the court, any cool stories, and just how close are you with head coach Steve?
So he actually coached Scott County Middle School. That's where me and my brother went. I coached my brother from 6th to 8th grade. They won 2 state middle school championships, and then I came to Scott County. He coached me for 1 year before he got the job at Great Crossing. And I mean, we already had that relationship, and Coach Hicks had left. So I was like, you know what? Michael has his records at Scott County, so why don't I go get my records at Great Crossing? And it's only gotten better ever since. I've taken him on some visits with me. It's been a lot of fun. And I mean, he's just been there since day one, since I ever like really took basketball serious. And like, I can't thank him enough for all the time he's put into me and just like helping me throughout this journey. Like, there's not a lot of people I can say like really shaped me to be who I am, but he's one of those people that really shaped me into like not even just a basketball player, but a person.
Yeah, and basketball wise, I'm sure he's happy you didn't leave, right? Because right.
You
can go to any prep school.
He told me the day I committed. He said, "Well, now I don't got to change my wardrobe." So,
yeah, man.
Talk about that a little bit, like just moments up to your commitment. Was there anyone else that knew besides your immediate family? Did they even know? Can you kind of walk us up to maybe the 24 hours before your commitment and how that went for you?
So basically, my whole family knew because I committed on campus on a visit. I didn't tell anybody I did that besides my mom, my dad, and my brother. Those are the only 3 people that knew. And then coming up 24 hours in, or about 3 days before, I had a teacher at my school who does really well with like making posters, banners, like these little trading cards. So we made the Kentucky banner, and we made some trading cards. And so they knew as well. And then my athletic director knew. And then the day of that morning, right before I went and sat down, I told all my coaches. And then I had also told my teammates. And then they were all the first people to know before everybody else.
That's funny because Coach Page, he told me he didn't want to know because he was afraid, him doing his speech before you made your announcement, he was afraid he would like mess something up. So he said like, oh, I might not even know until Malachi actually announces it. So that's funny. But
no, it only felt right that he knew. Like, I mean, he's one of the main reasons I was able to have that kind of decision. Like, he let me grow as a player, and he always put in the work with me. So it only felt right that he should know before everybody else.
And that's what I was saying too. I was saying I bet he's happy you're staying here like at Great Crossing because you could have went to any prep school in the country and finished out your high school ball there.
We had a discussion about it, and we just decided to make it a harder schedule. So like we play more of a national schedule this year, and it's not just a challenge for me; it's for a challenge from the whole team. Like, because after my class leaves, we're going to be a young team again. So we just tried to make it as challenging as possible, so that way they can live up to that challenge next year and get better.
Yeah, Tim, did you want to hop in here and get you some questions too? I felt like I
was going to say. Well, we brought up commitment, and I remember I saw this little video. I can't remember who put it out on Twitter, but there was a moment that your jacket kind of was down a little bit, and you saw some blue. Did your heart sink in that moment?
So, funny story. My brother's girlfriend and her family were sitting right in front of me, and my jacket was down like that. It's like, say this white part's the blue, and she like my brother's girlfriend. She came up to me and she was like, "Zip your jacket up, you're showing." And I was like, "Oh." And I was so glad, like everyone was like far off to the sides and nobody was paying attention, or else that would have just given it away completely.
Yeah, that was our guy Jordan Adams. He's one of our sports guys. He caught that. He tweeted that out, and it actually.
Well, that was so funny. I remember seeing my face, and I was like, "Oh man."
Malachi, right after your press conference was over, your commitment, they were asking you some questions. I think you might have made a pitch to other in-state recruit, Jasper Johnson. Would you like to see him at Kentucky with you in 2025?
Yes. He's one of those guys that I really want to play with. Like, I played against him my whole life, and now it's time that we become teammates.
Yeah. Well,
So,
as the time of recording this, tomorrow he has his commitment. So maybe, we're live right now, but maybe we'll have another Wildcat tomorrow. I would selfishly like to see that too.
yeah, no, I really want to see him in the UK blue.
Well, did you you didn't play against him when he was at Woodford, did you? You guys didn't play that year.
We always had it scheduled, and then the game would get canceled because of like the winter, snow, all that. So we could never fully play against each other. But like we'd play against each other in the summer league. We'd play against each other in AAU. Like we play each other everywhere. But now it's time. Like he needs to come to Kentucky.
What do you think about him as a player and as a potential teammate? Like him as a player, what he does well.
He's one of the best guards in the country. I think his pace is very well. He understands the game. And he doesn't force shots. He likes to let the game come to him and just be very, very efficient.
Yeah, Malachi, how would you tell fans what can, for the ones who haven't gotten to watch you in person, when you get to Kentucky, how would you describe your game? What type of player are you for the ones who haven't got a chance to watch you?
I am a back to the basket post player. I like to pass. I like to keep my teammates involved in the game, not let them lose confidence. And I'm a great teammate because it's always we over me. So I think if I can help the team on the front, it'll help the name on the back. So that's my whole pitch for that.
Yeah, Malachi, I've seen so many of your games. I know you're an unselfish player too. I mean, people forget you're the one that passed it to Vince Dawson there who then hit the game winner in the 11th region championship, which was crazy. I still think about that game.
Oh my goodness! Every time I watch that, it gives me chills. That was one. I think that's probably the craziest moment I've ever been in. That was
rushing the court. I mean, I love Mike's clap too. I
can't even lie to you. I almost lost my feet and fell because I was jumping and I turn around and there's just 50 people running behind me and I'm like, oh gosh.
I just don't know how that one kid, he took that shot. They could have held it for the last shot, but he shoots it. You get the rebound.
I mean, granted, he did make one before that, so I could understand it. If I was him, I probably would have shot it too. Yeah, but Vince, I had the ball in my hands, and I just seen Vince running behind me. I was like, you know what? He made the first one. I might as well just let him have the second one.
Yeah, because he hit one the possession before to tie it, man. That's crazy. But you, so you as a big, I know you said you partially picked Kentucky because Mark Pope being a big, obviously. Mm-hmm. I know your defense is obviously top notch, one of the best in the country. But offensively, what are you still trying to work on? Because I know there's some times when you've been trying to put on weight and you've done well with that. But especially when you were younger, battling in the post is something. You got your height, but you still need strength to
right.
back guys down and be better offensively. So how are you trying to not only get better with that, but also kind of incorporate more post moves? Get a bag, scoring.
I've just been. Mostly this offseason, I've just been working on just my feel in the post, my feel for the game, being able to shoot the three, being able to handle the ball. And I've been really working just on my passing because I feel like I'm going to get doubled a lot. So my pass out of the post are going to have to work very well. So we're just working on different reads out of that.
Yeah, I know Coach Page doesn't, you can't really hover around the three much because you got to be down low, obviously, with your height. But is Coach Page going to let you shoot a little bit?
We adopted a new offense, and it's more like a 5-out, and it's just we have things we can run, but he's letting us play a little bit more freely. And I think he'd prefer me to take open three than a contest three. So I want to shoot a lot of open threes. I don't know if I'll shoot off the dribble, between the legs, behind the back, step back, all that. But we'll just if it comes to me, I'll let it fly a couple of times.
Yeah, you got Vince, you got Janias, and then
we got Gage, we got LJ.
Because Jeremiah's the one that's gone, right?
Yeah, he left. Him and Jalen Warren were our only two people that left from last year's team.
So you think you could have 5 shooters out there?
Potentially, yeah.
It's gonna be scary, man. You guys were gonna win. I was telling you, Trace. I'm like, these guys aren't losing. They're gonna win it all. And there's a guy like Chad, man. It's just tough. And Brady's shoulders, man. That dude Brady's shoulders on Lyon County, man. He was a dog in that game too.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was. Tim, I got to ask you a quick question. I'm going to throw it right to you, Tim, for yours. We'll get you in here. But Malachi, you're the first, as we said, the first commitment of the Mark Pope era. What's that mean to you? I mean, we're starting a new chapter in Kentucky basketball history, and you're the first guy to say, yes, I want to be a part of that. What's that mean to you?
It's really cool. I just wanted to get people to follow in my decision and just like let people know, like Coach Pope, he's one of those coaches that really, really focus on getting you better at what you're he doesn't like to say weaknesses, but like what you can get better at. Because he doesn't believe in saying you have a weakness. He's just like, you can get better at that.
Yeah. You said Jasper Johnson. What are there some other players you want to follow you along?
Braylon Mullins. He's one of my AAU teammates. We've been best friends since we were 7th grade. He needs to come to Kentucky too. I'd like to see Tunde with us. He's a hard working athlete. He's a big game changer. And then I'd probably say Caden Lewis. I've played with him in a couple camps, and shooting's unbelievable. Point guard, really handle the ball, ambidextrous. So like that's really it's kind of a separator. And then anybody else after that, I just want people to follow in the decision.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned Braylon Mullins because, you obviously said you were AAU teammates and crazy shooter. I saw the clip of you telling KSR Jack Pilgrim that you'd be comfortable with him pulling up from the volleyball line. You said you see him shoot it from there and you're already going back.
Yeah, that's how it works. Like he did it all. Like I knew it was going to hit bottom of the net and then we were going to have 3 points on the board. So
yeah, well, with him being an Indiana kid, I know one of your heavy pushes to Jasper Johnson is, this is your home, come play for your home. I'm sure he's also heavily considering staying home with Indiana being one of his top choices. What would your pitch kind of be to him to come join you at Kentucky?
I was just like, man, we prospered a lot together. Like, why not just keep the same thing? Like, we've been a duo. Like, everyone loves to talk about us. Like, we were a part of a lot of college's dream classes together. So I was just like, why not come here together?
Yeah, Malachi. I want to talk about your development with basketball. How old were you when you first started that you realized I love this game of basketball? And then also a two-parter, how old do you think you were when you started to realize, okay, I could probably go play college ball with this in post high school?
I think I started playing when I was in 2nd grade. I played on our local AAU team, actually with Vince. And I was just playing for fun. I mainly played soccer because, my dad being Colombian, he loves soccer. So I played soccer a lot growing up. And then once I got to middle school, I was still kind of playing it for fun, but it was mainly my main sport just because I had a lot of fun with it. So I just wanted to keep playing it. And then going into 7th grade, I grew to about 6'4". That's when I really started to fall in love with the game and knowing I'm good at this. And then 8th grade, I come in, I got my first offer from EKU, and that's when I realized, you know what, I can really do something with this. And then once I got through high school, 30 plus offers, 4-star recruit, I took it to heart and was like, I can really make a living out of this.
Yeah. Another two-parter for you. So first question is, who is your favorite Kentucky former Wildcat of all time? And then the second part is, what player in today's NBA, or it doesn't necessarily have to be today, it could be at any point in time, do you think you model your game or your game similar to? So that's a two-parter there. Let's start with first, your favorite Kentucky Wildcat of all time.
That's really hard because I used to tell people it was Anthony Davis because we can both grow a unibrow. But he'd definitely be up there. Then I'd probably put, from who I've seen in person, Reed Shepherd's got to be up there. And then I'd probably put John Wall up there. Those are probably my 3 favorite players. And then you said who I model my game after?
If there is anybody.
I'd probably say Anthony Davis just because he's a 3-level scorer. He's got a frail build, but as he got older, he got bigger. So I feel like I can model myself after that. And him being as lanky as he is, when he was in college, he led the nation in block shots by himself. more than other teams. So like I thought, you know what, I can do something like that.
Definitely.
For sure.
Malachi, I know you obviously are excited to get to UK, but how do you observe this first year, under Poe, this team that's just a bunch of transfers, just a couple freshmen, but like Travis, but a lot of just mixed pieces, and people are kind of giving Pope not a pass, but he gets 1 year to figure things out,
Right.
and you guys are going to get in. Like, obviously everyone's rooting for him to do well and for the Cats to be one of the best teams and be great, but if they do struggle and only go 500, maybe miss the tournament or maybe squeak in, does that like matter at all? How are you observing it? And, will that kind of change how you obviously you're going to Kentucky either way, but once you get in, some guys say, oh, okay, like after a team had a bad season, like I'm even more motivated to come in and make the team even better. What does this weird year look like?
I'm just watching, I'm cheering them on. Like, I'm gonna be their number one supporter. Because from what I've seen in practice, like they're really focused on what they want, and I think that's really good for their first year being together. And once I get there, we can continue that focus and just win.
I know you're hoping to play with Travis, obviously, unless he goes crazy and has a Reed Shepherd, explosion, goes one and done. He'll probably be back. So you're excited to play with him, but who else on this team would you like to play with, when you get there second year? I know guys are running out of eligibility, but, if you could just get rid of eligibility, like what guys do you see on this year's team and you're like, dang, like I want to play with that guy?
I would say Travis and Trent for sure. And then if I had to pick a couple, I'd say Amari Williams. I mean, he was a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and I think I could really learn under his wing. I'd say Andrew Carr. He's a really cool character, really fun to be around. And I would say Otega. Owe, I don't know how to say his last name yet. But he's just he's an all-around winner, and he likes to compete. So.
Yeah. Is there any dark horses on this team that it's a brand new roster. We know very little about them. If you said you've seen them a couple times in practice, who should fans be prepared to see have a lot of success this season?
Colin Chandler. Because he went on a mission trip for 2 years. So he wasn't completely focused on basketball, but he still got game.
Wow.
And Jackson. I mean, Jackson's could have. It was either or if he was going to go to the league or not. So
Jackson's going to be really well too.
You're expecting an explosion out of him?
Mm-hmm. I think he can become a first-round pick. Not even just a first-round pick. I think he could become a lottery pick. Wow. And that's just from what I've seen in the summer. So,
Malachi,
we'd love to see that.
Oh, sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
I was saying we'd love to see that, of course.
Yeah. Malachi, I don't know if you're if you have some goals listed of what you want to have in your basketball career. If you don't, that's fine. But I'm sure state title, Mr. Basketball, and maybe even a championship at Kentucky. If you have a list in the back of your head, can you go off of some of those that you really want to have in your early basketball career?
So some of my goals are just to help my teammates succeed, win a state championship, have Mr. Basketball, hopefully win Gatorade Player of the Year, and just have fun with it and just win, make it to the league, and then see where life takes me after that.
Yeah. Malachi, another thing that we always run into is a lot of these players that come to Kentucky basketball aren't from Kentucky. So they always hear about how crazy these fans are, how passionate, but they don't really truly realize until they get here. And they'll say that themselves. There's players on this year's team. They're like, I didn't know it was like this. You've grown up in it, just as much as we do, watched games your whole life. What's the love been like for you with Kentucky fans so far? Before your commitment, after, what's that been like?
I mean, before it was cool. I would see them out on the street and they'd ask to take a picture, and I'd say yes. It was really cool to have that, and just a lot of little kids look up to me, and I'm just I want to be a good role model for them. So just having that is really cool. And then after I committed, I went to the football game last week, and I was just walking around from tailgate to tailgate. I probably got stopped by 20 people in between each tailgate, just asking for pictures and just having conversations, because I like to meet people. So that was probably a lot of fun. And like the fans are really cool. They have a lot of energy, show a lot of passion, and can't wait for it.
Malachi, speaking of just like X and O's, like if you're talking about 5 out, do you feel like you'll be doing less pick and rolls or more, because obviously once you get to the college game, obviously, that'll be a big part. And, the pick and pop is obviously something that you would love to incorporate, but at least, the pick and roll, what do you feel like? You feel like you're going to do a lot of that this year? Is that something that you're trying to get better at?
Yes, I think we'll do a lot of pick and roll, a lot of screen away actions, and just being able to play within the parameters our coaches have given us with the new offense we have. And then it's just a lot of cutting and a lot of movement.
Yeah, because Janias, he's small, he's sneaky, he's quick, so he'll be able to navigate that really well.
That's why we have this new offense, just because he can get to a lot of places and kick out, and then after that, teams will have to fan out, and then as they fan out, players cut, pass, layup. So,
which hypothetically that you'd love to do, like with Jasper, with a college guard.
Exactly.
But do you feel like you will? Do you like rolling to the basket, or would obviously you'd love to pop and shoot? But do you feel like you get alley oops, but you really mainly just kind of get alley oops from, just got like one of your guards just throwing it up. But like do you feel like you could roll and maybe be a rim runner? Like, is that something you could see yourself doing?
Yes. Last year I had Jeremiah, and him being an athlete, I could take it out, get it to Janias, Jeremiah take off down the floor, boom, dunk. And now me being the 5 again, it's just I'll still take it out, but at the same time, it's just I'm trailing down the court, and then I make the offense. I pass it, go screen, roll, and then we have to replace. So if I don't get it on the lob, I turn around, seal, post, and then I go to work from there. So It's going to be a really fun offense to play in, and I think it's really going to help us.
What's your favorite post move? Like, is it, obviously you love dunking, but when your back's to the basket, do you like the little hook? Do you go off the glass? What do you like the most? What's your best move?
The one I seem to get people on is when I spin baseline and then spin back to the middle. I think I get a lot of people on that. That's probably one of my favorite moves that I'm good at. I'm working on things I'm not good at right now, but I'd say that's one of them. And then probably my post fadeaway. I like that shot a lot. So.
Yeah. Like what are you not good at?
Just being able to play low and just bury guys under the rim. So that's what I've been working on.
Malka, how old were you when you first dunked the ball? I always ask tall people this. We're not as tall as you. Clearly, I'm barely 6 foot. How old were you when you first dunked the ball?
13. Wow. I think that was when I got my first clean dunk. It was at a camp, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of leaked out for it. I went to close out on a shot, and I just took off down the court. I just wanted to get a dunk so bad. I was like, Coach, once I get this dunk, take me out the game.
Looking at our comment section, Tim, if you want to throw, I saw you throw one earlier on her, but we got Moose Bradford. Welcome to Kentucky basketball, Malachi. I loved watching you at the state tournament, and good luck getting back there this year. We've got some number 9 in the chat. Kentucky basketball hasn't won a title since 2012. It's getting pretty far down the road. I'm sure you got dreams of winning your own at Kentucky. That's got to be mission number 1, right?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And then, so Tim, did you have any questions? We want to get you.
I was going to say this one, Michael Stewart. I don't think we've mentioned the Mark Pope press conference yet, and how crazy that was. Did you catch any of that whenever that was going on?
That was so crazy. I don't think I ever seen Rupp Arena so full. It was full from top to bottom. There were so many people there, and unfortunately, I was at a tournament in Omaha, Nebraska, so I was 5 states away. Had to miss it, but I was able to watch it, and just seeing the love and support he got from the fans, and just what his focuses were, it was definitely a sway in the decision at the time.
So going off that, it was a very special day for all of us too. I can definitely say that for myself, but this is something I've always wondered as well. As you go get recruited by coaches, does it matter to players at all if that coach ever played the game? There's legendary coaches that never played and had success playing the game, but He won a title. He was a captain on the 96 team. Like, does that change anything for you, or am I just overthinking that?
Not really. It's kind of just about the feel. Like, some coaches just have that feel. You're talking to the coaches, and then you just get that, like, you're like, this is where I want to be. And that's what I got from Coach Pope. And I mean, him winning a championship at Kentucky, it definitely helped a little bit, but at the same time, it was a clean slate, and I just got that feeling.
Yeah. Jackson, one of the media availabilities this summer, they let us, talk to the players, interview them. Mm-hmm. And Jackson was asked, what is it about Coach Pope that everyone loves so much? And Jax was like, it's just his aura, man. Aura. He's got aura.
He does have aura.
Which is what the kids are saying nowadays, which is funny. But I wanted to give a shout out to Michael, talk about him. I know your big bro is the man. He's a legend up in Scott County, and at EKU. It was fun to cover your games, and then on Fridays, and then go to his on Saturdays and whatever. And I know he's done at EKU. I think he said he was trying to play overseas. I don't know what his status on that is.
He has a job now.
Does he? What's he doing?
Yeah, he works for Jam Sports in Nicholasville.
Nice.
So now he works with Sports Apparel. So
that's awesome, man. Good for him. I just wanted you to talk about him a little bit, and the connection you guys had, and now you guys are both going to be D1 players here soon. But I know he's meant a lot to you and helped you with your game too.
I mean, he's kind of the one that sort of got me started on this journey. Just being, I don't want to say being dragged, but like being brought to all his AAU events, like seeing him and seeing how much fun he had with the game. It just lit this fire in me that like I wanted to do that. And then just seeing the success he had with it, I wanted to have success with it as well. And I mean, he said on the KSR podcast, one of the reasons he chose to go to EKU was so he didn't miss anything I had, and so he could also be more of a mentor to me as I go through this process. And I mean, everything I got to give to him, because he was helping me whenever I needed it. He was always he was always the backbone. Like he gave me a lot of guidance through this process, and he kept me very level-headed.
Yeah, I think I told you guys, Trace and Tim, like when I first got here, that was my first story I did at Fox 56, was interviewing him. 7 foot. I'm like, there's a 7 foot freshman at Great Crossing. Like, okay, that's crazy. And his brother plays at EKU. All right, that's a fantastic story. That was my first story I did the fall of 2021. Just crazy, before your freshman year even started. So we've been talking that long, Malachi, which is crazy. And Michael, it's always good to see him. And so I know you are certainly going to try to go out there and win state, because your brother obviously wanted it at Scott County. And
he got cut short twice in the state championship.
So you got to do it.
If I can get one, it'll definitely be the talk at the table at Thanksgiving.
Yeah. You go complete the mission for him.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey, man, you almost got it, but I got it.
Yeah. Did he have – I know you decided to go where you wanted to go anyways, but did he in his own end have a special favorite? Like, was he like, hey, still go to Lexington? Or did he just let you do your own thing?
He sort of let me do my own thing, but we would always talk about every visit and what I liked about it, what I disliked about it, and then he would sort of give me his thoughts. And when it came down to it, he gave me we sort of had similar wants and needs, and we came up to almost a Final Five, and those were the ones that really stuck out to me. And we just decided from there, him, my mom, and my dad, we just sat down, we talked about it, and came away with a decision.
Yeah. The last question I got, is Reed Shepherd. You're kind of going down the same path as him. He decided to stay home with his boys at his local high school, and he shows that path can work. You don't have to go to prep schools, and there's right. With both paths. But have you had any connection with him about how you can stay home with your home team, go to Kentucky and then make it out and be a first-round pick and just have ultimate success and not have to go a different path?
I mean, just seeing that, like seeing his work ethic and just seeing like the success he had, like I've always believed you don't need prep school if you really want it. It's just all about the heart and all about the fight. Just going out every day, playing your hardest, not leaving anything on the court. And it's just seeing that, it just made my decision like easier to come to of staying home.
Yeah.
Malachi, I do want to ask you a little tough question, and you don't have to go in super detail, but I do want to ask, how did things change with your recruitment and things in your head after Cal left? You know, obviously Cal was recruiting you. Him and Orlando were, you know, in the building for your 11th region title game. I got a shot of them up there at the top, and then the whole Cal thing happens. What were your thoughts during that time? And then, you know, did you think about following Cal to Arkansas, or, you know, were you kind of at first unsure about Pope? You know, how were those couple months?
I mean, it was a crazy couple of months, but at the same time, I followed it, but I didn't keep up with it a lot because, you know, at the same time I was playing summer ball, going to all these different camps. Like I was more focused on that, but I still kept up with it. And then, you know, Cal left, went to Arkansas. I was being recruited by Arkansas before he left. And then he texted me the day after he left, and he was just like, hope you still want to play for me. So like him doing that, like that was cool, especially with everything that had happened. And then, you know, Coach Pope called me the day he got the job and was like, I still want to recruit you. And so like that was really cool as well. Just seeing that and the love that like coaches have for their recruits. Like that was really cool.
Malachi, can you talk about that as much as you feel like sharing? But you said he called you the day that he took the job. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, what's that mean for you? Because, you know, that's a big deal. He's moving across the country, big in his own world. And he's
Right.
like, okay, I'm gonna take the time to call this guy, and I want him to come play for me. I'm sure that's got to mean a lot.
I mean, that meant a crazy amount because, I mean, just coming into a new job, I knew his world was probably spinning, like phone blowing up left and right, not having a lot of time a day, but still took time to call me and just be like, hey, I still want to recruit you. So yeah, that was really cool, and it definitely stuck out to me.
So if Cal stayed, would you have still committed to Kentucky?
It would have been a different ball game, but they definitely still would have been like a top choice for me.
Interesting. What I know Indiana was. I know you really liked Indiana. Coach Page was telling me that they were one of the first ones on you, and you kind of connected with them. Was there? Are you comfortable saying who got second place, or like was Indiana second? You don't have to if you don't want to. But
I don't really consider them being a second place. Like it was kind of just a clean slate for everybody. But I had ultimately come down to like a top 4, top 3 with just some of the schools that stuck out to me the most, like Kentucky, Ohio State, Indiana, Arkansas, UNC, Kansas, like those types of schools. They like really stuck out to me. And it just took a lot of prayer and a lot of talks with family, and that's kind of just helped me guide in my decision. So
good for you, man. Well, we're happy for you. Certainly, you know, as reporters who, you know, they are, you know, Kentucky bred. I'm not from here, so I don't personally root for the Cats, but I want them to do well for the job, and now all the friends I made in this area, I want them to be happy. So I certainly hope that they do well, but I personally hope you do well. Well, I'm rooting for Pope too, man. I like him. He's great. He did the one-on-one with me and all the other stations, so he's made an effort to connect with us as the media, which is not what Cal did. Cal didn't care about us at all, you know, and like, you know, I liked Cal too, but I think Pope's a really good guy. He's such a likable guy, and he's a good basketball coach. He hasn't, you know, won in the tournament yet, but he will, and that hopefully will start this year. But I know he's going to do well, and I know you're going to do well once you get there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Michael's a Michigan State guy.
Go Green.
Yeah.
Izzo didn't recruit you?
He did, but they never gave a scholarship. So,
Really?
Yeah. I got texted by like every single person on the staff, but
Really?
I never got the scholarship. So,
would you have thought about it?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Izzo was like, he was a really cool coach, and just like talking to him, like he seemed like a guy I want to play for, but it didn't happen that way.
Yeah, Izzo's great. Dwayne Stevens on that staff. I can't remember the others. There's some new faces now. I'm wondering who hit you up. But yeah, it's you made the right decision, man. Would you like if you were an out of state kid, would you still be this drawn to Kentucky? Like, I know this is your hometown, home state team. I guess, what is it besides like the love and the nostalgia? What else about Kentucky makes you think like, oh, if I was in Indiana or if I was from, North Carolina, I still would have picked Kentucky?
I mean, Kentucky's still Kentucky at the end of the day. Like, they put guys in the league, and they really help build their market, and they kind of just set you up for life. Like, I've met a lot of people that have like gone, not even just like played sports in Kentucky, but have just like gone to the University of Kentucky and like have really succeeded in life. So
yeah, I think I don't know what I'm trying to get at is like some guys that are from some big recruits that are from somewhere, like they want to go somewhere else. They don't want to play for the hometown team. Like up in Michigan, there was like a really good player at East Lansing High School who Izzo was recruiting heavily, Brandon Johns, and he didn't want to go there. He went somewhere else, and like everyone was convinced he was going to pick his hometown team. Everyone was convinced you were going to pick your home state team in Kentucky. Like was there ever a thought of like like trying to go someplace new, live in a new place, or were you fine like staying close to home?
I mean, I gave everywhere equal chance. I took a lot of visits, and when I was on those visits, they were mainly like Saturday visits. Like, I'd be there all day. I'd see where the players lived, just like around town, and it was a fun experience. And I just took the best places from each place, and I kind of just compared them, and that was how the easier my decision was.
Yeah. Tim, did you have any more questions before we kind of wrap this thing up and let Malachi on his way?
Yeah, well, Michael, I'm glad you mentioned his older brother, Michael, because we were speaking a little bit earlier about how I was at EKU as an undergrad. I got to watch him some, but I was always a real big A.W. Hamilton fan. He's a highly passionate and just caring coach. You were mentioning earlier how EKU is one of the first schools to offer you. So I'm assuming you met with A.W. Hamilton kind of at a young age. Was there anything he said to you?
I mean, A-Dub, he recruited my brother. He played at Scott County, so we'd already had that relationship, and my brother got there. And surprisingly enough, A-Dub offered me on my 14th birthday. I will never forget this. I was at Malone's. I was eating a steak. Not gonna lie, it was really good. And
I'm hungry now.
Yeah.
You said what?
I said I'm hungry now. But go ahead.
I'm hungry too. Nah, he called my brother, and then my brother gave me the phone. And Coach A-Dub was like, "What's up, man?" And I said, "What's up?" I said, "How you doing?" He said, "I'm doing good." He said, "Listen, I know like you're growing. You're gonna do big things one day, but I just wanted you to know we're gonna be the first people to offer you a scholarship." So that was really cool. And I mean, we had always had a relationship like that. So
wow. 14 years old
is crazy.
That's awesome.
Man, it was on my 14th birthday too. That was a birthday present right there.
That was strategic for sure.
He probably was.
He probably saw you dunking for the first time at 13. He was like, call him up. Yeah.
Probably.
Well, I think that's all I got. You guys, you got any more questions for Malachi before we let him go?
Not from me.
It's good, man. Good luck, Malachi. I'm sure we'll see you in a couple months. I think some Kentucky fans are going to come out to check out your guys' games. I know.
Probably.
I'm excited to see you guys play Scott County in that new Scott County gym. You guys are going to get that dub over there.
You know what's crazy? They actually come to us this year. We don't go to them.
You don't go there?
Nah, we tried to get it changed, but they wouldn't do that. So
that's weird that they wouldn't want to have the rivalry game in their own gym.
I know, but hey, at least we beat them in football. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, man, that game was crazy. I was only able to be there for first quarter. Then I had to rush back because of the delay. But man, you guys jumped out. What, you got a couple fumbles in the first quarter.
Yeah. It was real tight, like going into like the third quarter, and then once we got to the fourth quarter, we just took off. Like we had a pick. We ran in like 3 touchdowns, and that's how I knew it was game. I wish you would have gotten a video of our student section. We have so much fun.
I know. You saw me there.
Yeah, bro, you missed out on so much. We had so much fun that day.
I know. I got the Scott County student section, but I know. Aren't you guys at home this Friday?
Yes.
I think I'm going up there. I might be going up there this Friday.
All right, we're going to be decked down all neon, so.
But all right, well then I'll get you guys saying we're a Great Carson student section. You're watching Home Team Friday nights.
Yeah.
All right, but we'll be there.
All right, cool.
We thank you a bunch, man. Again, we extremely appreciate this. I'm glad we're hopping on early on the 25 class, and fans get to have a spotlight on you. Again, thank you. We appreciate you doing this a bunch.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man.